So we've got Lisa here, Lisa C. Wolfe. You guys can find out more about Lisa at lisacwolfe.com, but I'm going to have her introduce herself. I'll tell you a little bit about her from me. She's been a huge support to me over the years, especially very early on in my spiritual journey when I had no idea, like, WTF was going on. And definitely feeling like there's a lot of stuff going on. Maybe we can get into that later, but I'm going to give Lisa a chance to talk and introduce herself. Tell us a little bit about you, Lisa.
Sure. I am a spiritual mentor and an intuitive guide. And my mission on this planet, in this incarnation, is to help people to peel back the layers so that they can remember who they are and can participate in this amazing ascension process that's taking place. Because I think we're all feeling the pull right now. And so many people are like, oh, I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what it is. And so what I do is I help to peel back the layers so that you can get to the center of yourself and you can proceed with your divine mission on Earth.
Yay! And that's a definitely a very, very worthy thing. For me, Lisa, how do I say? And during a time for me when I was coming into a lot of my intuition, a lot of my gifts, I had no idea what was going on. She really shed a lot of light for me and gave me tools to help me manage a lot of my energy. She taught me a lot about energetic hygiene and things that worked for me. But I'll get more into that later because I'm clearly getting excited about it and I'm so grateful. But Lisa, I think that there's some, let's clarify for people. What is intuition exactly?
Well, intuition, people think of it as being, some special gift. Like I channel guides and people say, oh my gosh, I wish I had that skill. Intuition is a human sense. It's just like any of our other senses. It's just that we were not taught to develop it. In fact, we were told that we were crazy or emotional or we needed to calm down, right, when we were little. And so that became a part of ourselves that we didn't show to the world. But intuition is the sense that we all need to develop in this ascension process. It is the sense that is going to give us access to those subtle frequencies, which we can't access through our normal five senses.
Yes.
And which will allow us to step in to the next phase of human development. Because what we're experiencing right now on this planet is that the human race is very, very young. People have a very myopic view of just the last 10 years or even the last 50 years. But what's happening right now is absolutely incredible because the human race has been operating from bestiality, from tribalism, from very backward points of view. Now, those were necessary to our evolution, but now we're ready for the next phase. And the next phase is that we begin to access our ability to sense subtle frequencies because you know that we only see maybe 5-10% of all of the energies that are out there, right? And so intuition allows us to tap in and to feel the support that we have around us all the time. We are all surrounded by angels, by guides, by helper energies who want to help us. And so, I translate for people when I'm doing the channeling, but what I really, really love doing is helping people to establish their own contact so that they're getting the information directly. Because it isn't anything special. It is something that all humans can do.
So you're telling me that basically everyone is intuitive?
Yeah, absolutely. And those people who think of themselves as being empaths, they're just people who can access that intuition, but don't really know what to do with it, right? But everybody's empathetic, right? It's just that some people got really, really traumatized when they were little, right? Or they had something terrible happen. And as a result of it, they don't know how to access that part of themselves. And, there are beings on this planet right now who are also, so we have to remember that, especially if we're empaths who want to save everybody and help everybody and so on. Right? So we also have to learn to stay in our, We have to learn to stay in our own lanes.
Yeah, totally guilty for that, and definitely learning to stay in my lane. So what is some like what are some other common misconceptions about intuition? Like,
Well, you tell me.
okay,
Because I've been in it for so long that I don't even remember. Well, I used to think one of the things that we get when we are being intuitive is I had a client back when I was a health coach, and she said, I feel like I should be doing all these different things. She said, but then I think, oh, I'm just being emotional.
oh,
Right. And I was really struck by that. And it really kind of hurt my heart because it was clear that she was told emotions are bad, right? You don't want to be a hysterical female.
You don't want to be
But
crazy.
yes, yes. And, we as women are told, oh, you're so emotional. You're so sensitive. Why are you like that? Stop being so sensitive. There's something wrong with you. Right?
Hashtag facts.
Yeah. But now we are coming in because look, women and emotions were repressed by the patriarchy because they are uncontrollable, right? We women, we are mysterious. We bleed, but we don't die, right? We're scary. We are some scary people. And so, and so I was talking to somebody earlier about this because I could feel in her energy that she had been a witch, right? But she was raised as a Christian in this incarnation. So she was like, oh no, witch bad. And I was like, it's so interesting because witches were the healers. They were the educated people, right? They were the women who knew the herbs, they knew how to heal, they knew how to manipulate energy. But because the patriarchy was terrified, right, they came up with this whole conception of what it is to be a witch, right? Raising demons and, doing whatever with the devil.
Satan's work.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's really weird, but there is a current of people who reject the patriarchy. So they're like, oh, okay, so I need to go worship a devil in order to reject the patriarchy. Don't buy into their game. That is not what witchcraft is. That is not what mysticism is, right? So I find it really fascinating because what's been coming up over the recent years is the rise of the divine feminine, right? And we are seeing that in a huge way. And we think about the feminine as being something that is kind of soft and malleable and so on. But and originally when the divine feminine started coming in, we needed that. We really needed to remember that softness and receptivity. But what the energy that's coming in now is not the energy of the sweet mom so much as the fierce love.
Oh yeah. Tough love, baby, all day. I'm feeling it.
Yes, and it's a beautiful thing. But we're also beginning to see the rise of the sacred masculine.
Yes, right? Praise God. Woo!
Praise God. Praise God.
It's about damn time. We've been waiting for you.
It's been a long time coming. And the Me Too movement, the insanity that we're seeing in politics and so on, it's really easy to get caught up in, oh my God, we're regressing, we're devolving, we're going to hell in a handbasket because all these weirdos. But let me make this absolutely clear. This stuff is coming up to be cleared. I am old. I'm 55. Daniella didn't realize that. She didn't believe me. Earlier when I told her, she started laughing like, you're joking. But yeah. But within my lifetime, right, things have changed in such a radical way, right? So I kind of lost my train of thought there because I started thinking about what was I talking about before I started talking about my age?
You were talking about the patriarchy, the divine masculine, divine feminine, and actually how the feminine is now showing up differently. Not so
Thank you.
much like the
So,
soft coddling mommy thing, but more
yeah.
so that fierce, Kali type of like energy. Oh, I love it. It's so yummy.
Yes, the fierce love. And
Mm-hmm.
so when we're looking at in the regular media, we are, understandably upset because it's very upsetting. But the reason I brought up my age is that, look, when I was in high school, you just don't talk about these things. Sexual assault, all of these things, it was so normal that it wasn't talked about. And the fact that it's now, it's like all of those things that we pushed under the rug, right? That we were ignoring, that we were pushing down,
Mm-hmm.
is friends on Facebook, and where you see men, like I know this one guy on Face said, "I am so sick of white men. I am totally disgusted." And he said, "The problem is I am one." Right? But this is a guy who's coming forward in an incredibly protective, sacred, masculine way, where he's saying to the white cis males, "Shut up, you need to listen." And we're seeing this come forward more and more. So what this planet is moving into, it's not like we're going to have a matriarchy and the women are going to take over. This is where we come into balance, and the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine come back.
Yes.
Right? And it's absolutely beautiful, but it's also disorienting, right? Because there's so many ugly things and the media is feeding into the fear, right? That we have got to look below the surface at what is really happening, because it is so much more beautiful and so much more complex than that.
Okay.
And what I will also say is, yeah, it's not a fair fight. It's like, I did a post the other day. It's like, evolution is not an opinion, right? Our commitment to a higher vision for humanity, it's not an opinion. It's not an opinion. It is happening. It will happen. And I don't care how much the, toxic males don't want it to. It's happening. And, I mean, if we have to, we'll just wait until they all die out, but I'd prefer not to wait that long.
Oh, I have faith. I think that we're all, getting past this whole toxic masculinity. I mean, I'll speak for myself, this is kind of off topic a little bit, but it's still relevant. I personally was part of that whole toxic masculinity. I remember because I've always been a very strong kind of woman. I've been very, assertive, and I've had to learn to integrate my own divine feminine. But girl, let me tell you, I used to like, I would be the first one to tell a guy, like, man the fuck up, like, stop being a little bitch. I cringe thinking about that. I'm like, I don't know her. Like, I have no idea who that was. That was not me. Like, because I cringe to think that I would ever say something like that to a man, or say something like that to express myself towards a man having feelings or being emotional. Like, I would never, like, now. You know what I mean?
Because our conception of power, right, and our conception of strength was so intimately connected with the toxic masculinity, right?
Totally.
And that's why the sacred masculine coming forward right now is so very important, because now we're understanding that power has nothing to do with oppressing people. It has nothing to do with, keeping other people down. True power is the power of our souls, right? And so so we're re-examining all of these concepts, right? And sort of picking them apart back to their essentials. And a lot of the people that I've been working with recently, they're really stepping into their power. And many of them are resisting it because power is toxicity, right? And so we are really having to redefine what that means. And for many of us women, having the image of Kali, right? Having the image of Pele or of Isis
Or Lilith.
or Lilith helps us to step into, you know, because we think about love as being like kind of mushy and no, it is powerful. It is the most powerful force of the entire universe. And so that is what we are bringing in now.
Yay. So I want to circle right back into the topic because I know, I don't know if Remy Ray is still there. Remy's one of my really good friends, and I love to see that he's on. He asked, how can he access his intuition?
How can he access it? Well, first of all, it's fun to do exercises, such as on my site, I have a meditation to meet guides, right? So that can be really fun. The most important thing about accessing intuition is having a playful energy about it, right? Because one of the things that people do, they're like, oh, to be intuitive, I have to get a crystal ball and sit in a darkened room. And yeah, exactly. But that's not really the way that guides work, and that's not the way that intuition works. It's actually a very different frequency. And what you will find, what my clients find, is that they have been accessing their intuition for a really long time, but they didn't realize it. Right? For instance, when I was a personal trainer, I went from zero to having a full-fledged business. And people would come in to me and I could immediately tell what was wrong with them and what they needed. And I was like, oh, I must be so intelligent, right? I didn't really get it, but it was because I'm a claircognizant, right? And my intuition, I was tuning in that way. And we tend, especially claircognizance, that means clear knowing. We tend to attribute that to our brains, right? We're like, oh, I guess we're just really super intelligent. But that isn't what it is. And so approaching it with a light energy, right? An energy of exploration is really going to help. Playing with guides was the way that I really accessed it in a way that made sense to me. So I would suggest that just begin to start playing with it. Now, the other thing that I will say, which will not be a popular thing because of the commitment that's required, but it's meditation. You got to meditate every single day.
Yo, it's facts right there. I'm sorry. If anybody here listening is not meditating on a regular basis, and I'm talking to myself, because I know that I needed more than all of y'all on here, especially to stay grounded, start meditating. And if you guys don't know how to meditate, DM me. I am happy to share some techniques. Follow Lisa. She's got great free resources on her site too. So check it out, but definitely get your meditation game up.
Well, and see, here's the thing, because I used to meditate only on the days that I was seeing clients, right? And then I realized that every Monday I was like a complete basket case. And so I realized I had to do it for myself. And here's the thing is, our planet right now is a chaos field. It really is. There's institutions, paradigms are totally falling apart. They're crumbling, all of the old structures.
Pluto and Capricorn.
If you're not coming back to center, if you're not really connecting with your heart and with source all the time, then you can get pulled into the chaos and you can get pulled into the despair and the confusion, right? Because the collective is confused right now.
Definitely.
And we're all tapped into that because we're part of it. So
I'm glad that you said that too.
What's that?
With that, I'm glad that you brought that up about tuning into yourself, because that's one of the things I remember you were telling me about, is that I needed to learn what my own frequency felt like, you know, really, so that I can understand when things were when there was a disturbance in the force, you know, versus when it was a disturbance within me. It's like, like I would sometimes pick up stuff and I'm like, why am I feeling like this? I'm like, wait, this isn't mine, you know?
Right, because I've had anxiety since I was 8 years old, right? And so I have kicked that habit, right, by
Mm-hmm.
by doing that heart work. And
Mm-hmm.
recently I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like just hit with this wave of anxiety. And in past years, I would have said to myself, oh, here it is again. It's Groundhog's Day and I'm going to go back into the hole of anxiety and depression.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized, oh no, that's not mine. That's the collective's,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's why I meditate in the morning,
Get me
because when I
empaths.
wake up, right, and I come out of that dream state and then I'm hit with this collective hysteria,
Mm-hmm.
right? You've got to be able to come back to that center.
Mm-hmm.
And what I would recommend for people is that heart frequency meditation. I think I call it that on my Facebook
Yeah,
page
you do. You
and on
do.
my YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that one has been the most important because it tunes you in to your pure frequency,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you can get a sense of your own space,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when something starts coming in, you can easily say, oh, that is not mine.
Yeah.
Might be triggering something in you, right? Because you have a similar kind of vibration going on.
Yeah.
But it is really important. And that also leads me to say, we tend to beat up on ourselves. We're on the spiritual path. We're like, oh, I was doing so well, but now I'm all bummed out and I just feel like Netflixing all day. And we're like, what's wrong with you? Get back on the spiritual path. And
Hashtag currently.
right,
Yes.
right now,
Oh my God.
we
Oh
have
my
got
God.
to be
Yeah.
so kind to every part of ourselves,
Yes.
every part of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I was reading a post the other day in a spiritual group, and this woman said that she was doing some kind of a process, and she identified this part of herself, and she described like this woman screaming with blood all over her face and like darkness. And she said, and I told her to go away and I banished her. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't want to say, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I said, I would suggest that you entertain the idea that this is a discarded part of yourself
Oh yeah.
and that she
Oh
needs
God.
love.
Mm-hmm.
And
Super important.
because I know that recently I have come up against those pieces of myself, and reintegrating those dark bits
Mm-hmm.
has been so profound, way more profound than like my when you do the inner child work and so on. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
totally awesome and really, really fun. But man, those dark bits have
That's so
have
yummy.
such power, such
Yep.
potency. It's like
Mm-hmm.
my last client that I was talking to, the Joseph Campbell quote, in the cave that you fear holds the jewels that you're seeking.
Mm. So good.
Yeah. So and this time we need to treat ourselves with exquisite tenderness and compassion.
Yeah. So I had another question come in. She asked, do you find that you're more intuitive during full moons?
Oh God, don't ask me about full moons. I am not the person to ask. So full moons, as Danny knows, totally spin me out.
Same.
Because it is when emotions are very much at the surface. So many people can be extra intuitive during full moons, right? Especially if they're super moons and they're really close. So yeah, if you happen to have a biological and astrological configuration that allows you to not freak out during full moons, yes, there's more information.
Yeah, if you're a water moon, just like forget about it. Or if you got a 12th house moon, forget about it. It's a wrap.
Yeah, and yeah, it's interesting because full moons I used to just knew I would be a total basket
Mm-hmm.
case, and I would have to like take Epsom salt baths and just not do anything.
Same.
But that has shifted. And now I'm better able to deal with the intensity of the energies.
Oh yeah, I make sure to take to plan time off during those days because I know that it's just going to be intense. I'm not going to be able to sleep right. So because I'm not sleeping right, my energy's not right. I won't be able to do as much work as I can. So I plan around those days, the new moons and full moons.
Well, and see, that is the feminine approach, because what we're taught in the toxic masculinity is go, 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 go. And that is a very masculine energy, right? And most men are down with that, right? And we have been taught not to respect, not to understand that there are cycles. There are cycles of planting, there are cycles of hibernation, and then there's growth, and then there's, and understanding this can also help you to be more compassionate with yourself, right? Because we're just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And I know in my case, I used to call myself a lazy procrastinator, right? Because I just, the way that I fulfill myself is I lie in bed and I Netflix or I read, I read these historical novels and I just get totally immersed. But I need that, right? I need that downtime. And one thing that I'll mention along that vein is that you have to understand that spirits move very fast, right? Because they're energy, right? Minds can move pretty fast also, but bodies are dense matter. And so it takes time to catch up. And so if you're feeling the exhaustion, you need the downtime, that is a time when your body is integrating everything that you've been doing, right? And that's the importance of self-care. And, and I will say on the concept of self-care, it's so trite now, right? It's so overused, and it's like, oh, go get a pedicure or go take a bath and drink some wine. And I had a client once and she's like, I want to do self-care. She said, but I hate baths. And I'm like, well, then that's not self-care, honey.
Yeah.
Right. But the self-care is nourishing yourself on the deepest level.
Okay.
Right. And being okay with that. And that will also teach you receiving.
Right. And whatever it looks like for you, like self-care doesn't have to be the same for everybody. And I think that a lot of times we'll look it up online and it's like, take an Epsom salt bath, like you said. And it's like, maybe the bath is not a fun thing for you. Maybe a fun thing for you that self-care is doing go-karts. Go to go-karts,
Exactly.
have fun. Right. So, that's one thing. But I know that I try to keep it to about 30 minutes-ish so that people aren't on here forever. And I like to be respectful of your time.
Okay.
So I do want to share with people that you have a free series coming up, don't you?
I do. I'm teaching a workshop on intuition and on working with guides. And I'm super excited because I've been trying to figure out how to do this for a while. And I'm like, you know what? I love doing workshops. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm not doing a webinar where it's like, and I'm not doing a Facebook Live because I love it. I love this. I love interaction. And so it's on Zoom. And so people will be there in person. They'll be able to ask questions and we'll be able to have an actual workshop. So I'm not just like a talking head, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, guys, and it's free. Oh my gosh. Like she's giving this stuff to you for free.
Like,
I'm like super excited.
3 Wednesdays in a row, September 26th, October 3rd, which is my birthday.
Yay! It's Libra season, baby. I can't
and
wait.
then October 10th, 10/10. So thought that was pretty auspicious too.
I'm gonna go ahead and grab the link, guys.
Yeah, I would love you all to be there. It's going to be so much fun. But I'm trying to keep it to 50 people so it's not all wild.
Right, so it's not overwhelming and stuff. And people can get recordings if they can't make it live, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'll be sending out the recording afterwards. So you don't have to attend live. I'm doing it at 1:00 in the afternoon. just because of the international crowd. I'm trying to get the Europeans and the Aussies.
Oh, right. And that's a good time for Europe too. I think like, yeah, I deal with a lot of people abroad. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's super cool. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put the link in my bio. Also, it's going to be on her bio. So you guys can sign up and learn more about how to connect with your guides, learn more about intuition, learn more about self-care, and, you know, and take care of yourselves, y'all. Any questions before we go? Any questions? I'm gonna wait I don't know, 15 seconds, 30 seconds or so.
Let me just say that heart frequency meditation and the guides meditation are both on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel.
Ooh, okay. So we'll make sure to share those. I'll talk to Anna about getting those on your bio and stuff, so people can access it really quickly. And okay, I don't see any more questions coming in, but lots of hearts and lots of love. Thank you so much. I'll be sure to share it on my profile and in the story and stuff, or you guys can just DM me if you guys can't find it. All right. Thank you, Lisa. This was so much fun. You gave us so much, like way more than I thought we were going to get today. You know, I wanted to keep it light, but man, we touched on some really interesting
stuff.
Sorry about that. No, this is great.
I can't help it.
I love it. I love it. And hopefully we can come back and do this again soon.
Oh, I'd love
it. Guys, bye.
Love you, Danny.